Haha. All right. Shalom, everyone. We'll, as always, start with a story of the Chavetz Chaim about Shabbat. Almost 100 years ago, 101 years ago, to be more precise. It was rough times when they say about the Chavetz Chaim. Rav Chaim Zaychik writes that the Chavetz Chaim had to travel from city to city, and he reached one of the cities and he had to stay there for Shabbat. So on Friday night, this is in Russia, almost like 100 years ago. Shalom. Sorry, we started without you. So it was in the year 1914, right by World War I. And the Chavetz Chaim had to travel, and he stopped over in this city, and he goes out. What does he see? He sees someone, a Jew, being Mechalel Shabbat. This was the first time that he saw someone being Mechalel Shabbat. And they said he started shaking. His whole body was shaking, and he was not feeling good at all. And he was crying and crying and crying and crying. They couldn't stop. And he says, woe to me that my eyes saw this. What happened here? For 60 years, I never ever saw someone desecrate the Shabbat. And now, when I'm this age, the punishment that I get, I have to see this, and he could not relax. Right? This is the Chavetz Chaim. He obviously understood a lot more than us what Shabbat is, as we've seen many times. All right. We have to start with the story. Now, we're going to continue the Halachot of Hosa'a, right? Carrying something within Reshut Harabim, or taking something out of Reshut Hayachid, right? Private domain, to Reshut Harabim, public domain. We have mentioned a lot of things, like, what a person could do. Baruch Hashem, in Los Angeles, we have an eruv, right? And but it is very important to know these halachot. You're gonna go on vacation to some city, and there is no eruv there, right? You're gonna go to the valley, some city, and there is no eruv there, right? There's a lot of places. What's that?
Did you read my text?
No, I didn't.
I said this exact same thing.
Look, it happens. You go to many different places, and they don't have eruv, and we don't know because we're so used to it. And this was the problem back in Iran also. A lot of people that lived in the ghetto, in the Mahalle, they had an eruv. And when they left the ghettos, they went to different places where there was no eruv. You tell them, listen, you can't carry. They will laugh at you. What are you talking about? I'm not lighting a fire.
But the eruv here, everyone's okay with, like it's lechatchila.
We'll get to that. Right now, let's assume you're in a place there is no eruv. What can you carry? What can't you carry? So last week we discussed a lot of things. We'll continue this. Try to catch last week's shiur. A person who has a problem walking. Who has a problem walking. Can't walk without crutches, without a cane. That person is allowed to walk with a cane, right? Outside on Shabbat. The cane would not be considered carrying. But if a person could walk, it's harder for him to walk, but he could still walk without the cane, right? He just uses the cane to lean on it, basically. That would be asur to walk with that cane on Shabbat.
Is that because in the first case it's like part of him?
Right. It becomes batel to him. It becomes like his his clothing, basically.
Also a wheelchair?
Wheelchair, I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah, the person that's stuck in a wheelchair, the wheelchair becomes part of it, right? He just has to make sure, certain things, but it's not considered carrying. You could use that wheelchair, don't use the honk on Shabbat. You can't do that. But
is that the same as, there's a problem with seeing like a hearing aid? The person can't
hearing
hear
aid as well, correct. If you can't hear without it, same thing.
How do you know what level you're at? Like
The person knows. If you could walk without it, then you're good. If you can't walk, Uh,
Maybe distance makes a difference, obviously.
yeah, of course, he has to figure that out. Look, uh, 21 years ago, I had an accident and I couldn't walk. And there came a time that they allowed me to walk with one cane. I had to walk on Canadian crutches for a long time, and no way I could have walked without them. But then there came a time they allowed me to walk with a cane. So then I had a question: can I go to shul on Shabbat with this cane? So the answer was, Baruch Hashem, in the area that we lived in Yerushalayim, they had an eruv. They said because there's an eruv, you could rely on it for that cane, and you could go to shul. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not sure if I would have gone. But that's the halacha. Jewelry, right? Person has jewelry. She walk out with jewelry? On the thing. Can they walk with this? So the answer is that it is asur to walk out with jewelry that are attached to you with a pin, right? Pin like
Like a safety pin?
no, it's a pin like
Like
they
a
put on
rope.
the lapel sometimes.
For design?
Pins.
What is it?
For design.
What?
We're talking about design, right? Because it's possible. Let's see. Because it's possible that it might fall, right? And it's gonna carry them arba amot in Rishut Harabim.
But even like an earring has like a pin, basically. It could fall.
That has a safety. It's like a safety pin. If it's there with a safety pin, you're fine. If it's attached to you, right? Because the safety pin, you're not choshesh. You're not afraid that it's gonna fall off.
So what pin are you afraid that it's gonna fall off?
It's
But
just
it
a
has
pin,
no backing. It just
Right.
like
Oh, and there's no back. Yeah.
just like a needle.
right?
kind
An earring has a backing, right?
of. A necklace
But the
also.
needle hook has a
Necklace for sure.
like a rope,
Right.
right?
So then it's fine.
So it's fine.
If it has a safety pin, like a pin that gets closed, you're
Yeah.
fine.
So which one are you talking
Sometimes
about?
it just has one pin, and you stick the pin, right? It stays there. It's heavy. Sometimes it's like wobbly and it could fall. Big deal during the week. Who cares? You just take it up and put it in. But on Shabbat, we're afraid that you're in Reshut Harabim. We're talking about outside. You want to walk outside with it, it might fall, and you might carry it as you're walking. That's what Chachamim were choshesh. And they said, therefore, a person should not walk out with jewelry that is attached with a pin because of this fear. Because we are afraid that he's going to go ahead and carry it. Okay? Now, if they were attached with a safety pin, though, then it's attached. We don't have the chashash that it's going to fall off. Then we are fine. A person that cannot see, okay, without glasses, has a hard time seeing walking without glasses, then you could wear glasses and walk out with them on Rishut Harabim, right? However, if a person could see, you're okay. You're not in any danger without glasses. Prescription is very low. Then, in that case, we say that where there is no eruv, again, we're talking about there's no eruv at all, a person shouldn't wear them on Shabbat. Because we're afraid that he's going to take them off, right? He's going to take them off on Shabbat and carry them. Because he doesn't really need them that much. If you need them, if you can't see without them, for sure you need it.
If
It
you need
becomes
what's
a
that
part of
reading
it.
and show?
Reading glasses, because the person is going to carry it, is not going to have him on the whole time, right? Cannot carry that.
But let's say he needs it for davening and shul.
Then he has to foresee, and before Shabbat, have reading glasses in the shul, right? And one at home, have a couple stashed here, there, like,
Say he's in Palm Springs for Shabbat, something like that. That happens.
then don't go to shul.
Real?
You can't carry it. It's in
Wow.
Palm Springs, if there is no eruv, as I understand it, right? In Palm Springs, there's
Right, we
eruv.
had a problem. Right?
It's a problem. It's a huge problem, right? So a person who needs reading glasses, what's he gonna do? Put it on? Like, you don't need it. When you're walking, you don't need reading glasses. Like, the only time you need it is for reading. So it's carrying. It's not part of you. It's carrying. In a place where there is eruv, for sure you could take it. You put it on your nose and carry it. Like, no big deal. But the reading glasses are an issue. Same thing. Sunglasses. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Is there also melacha on contacts? Like instead of wearing, if
somebody's not wearing glasses but they are wearing contacts.
Right.
I did hear that there was like a specific, like if it's, for example, soft, or there's a difference between soft or a hard contacts, or if somebody keeps it in for like a period of extensive amount of time.
The only halacha that there is by contact lens, if it's your first time wearing it.
Okay.
So over there, we're afraid that you're going to take it out. Oh, it's bothering me. I'm not used to it yet.
Okay.
You're going to take it out and carry it, then we have an issue. But if a person is used to it already, no problem.
Okay.
Okay? So a person could go ahead and walk out with contact lenses, no issue. Now, with sunglasses, a person who's wearing sunglasses, right, a healthy person, that doesn't have pain, does not, doesn't bother them, the sun doesn't bother them, they can't wear sunglasses in Reshut Harabim, right? But if they have a problem, their eyes hurt, the sun bothers them, then they could certainly wear sunglasses, of course.
What do you mean bothers them?
The sunlight, some people, they're very sensitive to
So
it.
if they're very, very sensitive.
They're very sensitive, or they, Duraz June, they had an operation. Bar Minan, they had an operation, and they have to wear, they have to wear these contact lenses. They have to wear the sunglasses. Then we say that they could go ahead and wear sunglasses. However, where there is an eruv, even a surat hapetach eruv, right? That's a minimal eruv. There's a lot of argument. We're going to get to that at the end of this. A few more halachot. In that place, they could go ahead and wear the sunglasses, no problem. Okay.
So let's say, how do you define that it's going to bother them a lot? Let's say someone knows that if they walk 15 minutes and it's sunny, they're going to get a headache.
Somebody.
Let's say they know they're probably going to get a headache from the sun.
If they know from past experience that they're going to get a headache if they don't wear the sunglasses, then that's reason enough to be able to wear it. See, the sunglasses, we're afraid you're going to be walking, okay, and you're going to get to some place where there's shade. You're not going to walk with the sunglasses. You don't need the sunglasses over there, and you're going to carry it. You can't see when it's shady. It's going to be extremely dark. So you take off the sunglasses so you could see, and you're going to be carrying it. That's a big issue.
It's also like if you just put it on your head, right?
If you're not wearing, so there, very good question. Over there, when a person is wearing it, it becomes a question: does it become a part of his clothes, right, or not? Normal way of carrying it would be in your hand, right? But if you have it on your head, that might not be the normal way of carrying it. Over there would be still asur midrabanan, right? Not normal way of manner of carrying it would be asur midrabanan. A normal manner of carrying it would be asur from the Torah. Only if you hold, like we said, that the first shiur, Reshut Harabim, nowadays is midoraita. That means from the Torah, we have Reshut Harabim. There are some who say nowadays there isn't, but we said, according to many over here in LA, for sure we have Reshut Harabim. You walk on Olympic, the only reason why we would say there is no Reshut Harabim is you don't have 600,000 people passing through every day. Over here, 600,000 people is nothing. So we have that. Yeah.
Maybe you address this, or maybe you will. I'm just curious to know. So, where we have an Arab, let's say, when I come to show every week, I'm carrying diapers. My husband always says I could only carry exactly how much I need, right? So
Right.
So that applies for every. I'm confused as to what I could carry and what I can't carry in terms of the Arab that still exists. You know what I'm saying?
So definitely once you have the eruv, you could carry it, right? But it is definitely very good to try to minimize it. It is definitely very good to try to make sure that
only carry whatever you
only
need.
carry what you need.
But if it's like my son every week has some toy in his hand that he wants to take to shul, I should fight it out with him.
No, it's not kedai to fight with them over
Even if
this.
it's something that I need,
There's an
a
eruv.
truck,
There's an eruv that you could rely on, and he's a child,
yeah,
so it's easier.
it's okay.
Yeah.
That we would come into possible.
Yes.
So let's say you're carrying, let's say you're not carrying something where there is an arrow, but you cannot wait to take that off once you know that you got to your destination. So once you've entered the premises, the boundaries of where it's outlined, are you allowed to take it because basically you're in a domain? So
in a
you
private
have to
domain.
take it off at that point. Like, let's say it's like a necklace that's really itching a person.
Right.
So you're allowed to take it once you enter that first step of the premises?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once you have left that public domain and you're in private domain already, right? Then there is no question that you're not going to be carrying. It's not going to be considered carrying anymore.
Okay.
You're not carrying it from one domain to another domain,
Okay.
and within the private domain you could carry it.
Okay.
So now, something that is not a use for a person. It's not like clothing. Okay, it's not like clothing. It's not like a watch. It's not something that you use. It is asur to walk out with it to Reshut Harabim, even if you use it as a malbush, as a clothing. For instance, you want to go out with your key, right? You need a key, right? You want to go out with your key, so you say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hang it on my belt, right? Or I'm going to hang it around my neck, like that's not it's not a malbush. It's not part of your clothing, so you cannot wear that and say, look, I'm not carrying it. I'm wearing it. Right? It's not an article of clothing. It's nothing. Now, what about if the key is made out of silver or something nice? It looks, you could use it as a clip on your tie. You could use it as a what is this thing called? A brooch, right? Something nice. Wow, look at it. It's shiny and everything. Over there, we come to a machloket, right? Now, one problem is, first of all, this is something that you could, you're gonna pull it out and show it to your friend. Hey, look what I have, and you're gonna carry it for outside in the public domain, your Reshut Harabim, right? It's a problem. Number two problem is someone that sees you, right? He doesn't know that your intention is not for the usage of the key, right? And your intention is really for jewelry. They don't know that. They're going to be choshed. They're going to suspect you that you're carrying it to open the door, right?
You are.
Well, you might not be. Let's say you're not. Let's say you're just carrying it. Oh, this is something cool. It's a fashion statement. I have a key. Can't do that. Cannot
It's
wear
really
it.
your house key,
Right.
and you're gonna use it to open your house.
In that case, we say, now, first of all, there's a machloket, right? Ashkenazim are noheg if it's used for like jewelry purposes. Also, then you could wear it on
Ashkenazim
Shabbat.
do that, right?
Ashkenazim do that.
Yeah.
Sephardim, according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, they're machmir on this, right? We don't. Even if it could be used for both jewelry and usage, we say you can't do it. So a key is always a problem. Like, what do you do with a key? A lot of Ashkenazim use the keyhole as something that will hold the belt together, right? They have one hook on the one side of the hole, the other hook. Oh, it's holding my belt together. You don't need the key for that. You could put the two loops together, and you don't even need the key. Right? The only way you could use it if it becomes like a buckle, like the key becomes part of the buckle that you stick it into the belt, actually, and it holds the belt together. Then, according to Sephardim, also that would be useful. Otherwise, no. If there is an eruv, right, then you could wear it as jewelry, right? Then
Even
then
if
it's
you hold
easy.
it.
What? Even if you don't hold of the eruv,
Oh yeah.
I'm talking all these things when I'm saying if there is an eruv, even if you
But
don't
I'm
hold of the
saying,
eruv,
if it's carrying to wear it as jewelry, then what does the eruv make a difference?
because you're wearing it as jewelry and there is a tashmish for it, there is a usage for it, then the eruv will handle it. Will even if you don't hold of the eruv, you could use it. But if we have to be ready. If you're in a place where there is no eruv, remember, key is going to be an issue, especially for us Sephardim, according to Maran. Okay, clear? Right. Key is usually a problem. Yeah.
This is halacha b'rabanan.
This is no.
No.
Halakha, it depends. This that we just mentioned about the key, or just carrying altogether.
The key specifically.
The key specifically, it depends. If it's a key that's not a jewelry, it's just a regular home key, it's asur. It's not your clothing, it's not batel to you, and therefore it becomes midoraita. But that all depends if you hold that Reshut Harabim now is from the Torah or midirabbanan. If it's from the Torah, then we're in trouble. If it's the Rabbanan, then it's midirabbanan. However, that question, again, LA is a metropolitan city, and therefore it's Reshut Harabim. Being that it's Reshut Harabim, then what are you going to do?
Because I live in a city that just recently put up an eruv, and the rabbi there, the rabbi of the city, he allowed people to wear a belt, like this like stretchy belt, and like to have the key attached onto it.
That's what we just discussed. Right? For Ashkenazim, that's perfectly fine because it becomes a tool. But for us, according to Shulchan Aruch, it's not. Really, you put the two loops of the belt together, you don't even need the belt.
No, it wasn't even like a belt. It was just one of those like scrunchy things that you could.
Like a rubber band.
Yeah, like a rubber band, and you just like stretch it out, and the person would wear it like on their hip.
Oh, it just hangs the key on the.
Yeah.
It's not even used as a tool.
No.
Okay, because he's relying on the eruv.
No, there was no until one recently went up. And the rabbi of that city allowed that.
Okay, I don't know. Good question. I don't know. Unless there is something in Ashkenazi rabbi.
Shabbat.
So
But
Ashkenazi. So
even
then
if they're not using it,
they're a little bit more lenient. But according to Shulchan Aruch, according to Maran, Shulchan Aruch, we're
because
machmir.
I've seen Ashkenazim who just use it as long as it's a decoration, they do it. Like a
Right.
key on a
Ashkenazi,
necklace.
Ashkenazim are more lenient, but sometimes there are some cases that they might be too lenient. You have to see. You have to see poskim for that.
Some Ashkenazim don't do that.
Many
Just wear it as a
Ashkenazim don't.
necklace.
Now, as we mentioned, there is a huge machloket between the Rishonim. We mentioned maybe the first time. We said we need a few conditions for an area to be Reshut Harabim. One, the width of the street has to be 16 amot, right? 24 feet, about. Another, no ceiling, it's not covered. And then there is another one, there is a machloket in the Rishonim. Some say it should, that area should be an area that 600,000 people pass through, just like the Jews in the desert. Some say no, that's not one of the conditions. You don't find that as one of the conditions. If that's one of the conditions, so it becomes easier. If you need 600,000 people to go through, right, a city like Palm Springs, there is no Reshut Harabim according to that opinion. But according to the opinions that say, no, that's not one of the conditions for Reshut Harabim. As long as you have an open area and the streets are wide enough, that's Reshut Harabim already, finished. You don't need 600,000 people to go through, and it's a Reshut Harabim from the Torah. Then it becomes tougher. So you have this way and you have this way. There's a machloket. Like, what is Reshut Harabim exactly? Do we need that condition, that extra condition? It would have made it much easier if you had that condition in many places. You don't have Reshut Harabim, then things become midrabanan, then it's easier to make an eruv, and so on and so forth. Chazon Ish says, these days there is another leniency. We need a Reshut Harabim, just like in the desert, that this Reshut Harabim, this street, this freeway, is open-ended on both ends. And he says you don't have that. There's turns and there's this, that. You don't have open-ended streets like that. Makes it another level down. But, poskim are back and forth on this. So now, what do? The eruv that they make in many cities it's called Surat HaPetach. What is Surat HaPetach? Surat HaPetach means it's a shape, surah, of a petach. Petach is an opening, right? What do? They have a stick, and they have another stick. The measurement is like, there shouldn't be more than, I think, 10 amot, right? That's 15 feet apart. And then they have a string going over it. Okay? So it's called Surat HaPetach. It's the shape of an opening. So a lot of poskim have a problem with this. How many doors do you need? Do you have around the city? Right? So it's a very, very lenient opinion to use this type of eruv. Right? However, this is better than nothing. Even at Surat HaPetach is better than nothing. If you have doors, if you have actual enclosed area, like that you literally have walls all around, that's perfect. Because this is really a wall, and it enclosed the whole thing, and it's done. A city like the city of Beitar in Eretz Israel, there is for security reasons, but hey, there is a link fence all around the city. The city is completely closed off. And over there, that's a perfect area. Los Angeles, most of the areas are closed. You know that. The around the freeways they have the link fence and then there's also elevations. Those are considered walls, and they're using buildings as well as walls. There's only minimal areas where they're using Surat HaPetach, this opening. Our Eruv happens to be one of the better Eruvim around.
In the Pico Robertson and La Brea, or
It's the whole city.
In the Pico Robertson and La Brea, yeah, we are between the, I think the 405 and the 10, and I don't know which other. You have to look at the map. Go on LA Eruv. They have the map exactly where the boundaries are, and so on and so forth. So it does make it easier. However, Rabbi Madi writes in Yabi Omer Chelik Tet. He writes. He says, I went to New Jersey and I saw people, unfortunate people were walking with. Ladies were coming to shul with the bags, and and I told the Rabbanim, go ahead and make the eruv, even Surat HaPetach, he said, even if you make it better, better, but even there to save those people. For sure, the people that are B'nai Torah, they shouldn't carry. They should try not to carry. He says, and I even told the Rabbanim in Los Angeles to do it and to build the eruv, to make the eruv for because it would save a lot of people that don't know, they just carry. It will save them from Isur of Shabbat.
Exactly. So let's say you're doing Surat HaPetach for a very small area. Is it still very b'diavad? Let's say somebody goes camping.
No, it's less, because over there you're dealing with a Carmelite.
Oh right.
Right? You're dealing with a Carmelite. It's not even a Rosh Hashanah over there. So it certainly is easier. Surat HaPetach will certainly be easier. Now, okay, so pretty much we just touched on the halachot of carrying, because Baruch Hashem there is an eruv, although we try not to use it as much as we can. But look, you can't keep people at home all the time. You can't carry, you can't take the kids out, you can't, but definitely we shouldn't get used to just carrying. We should make it a habit, to check our pockets before we leave the home. You have to remember this halakha is an important halakha. One of the 39 Halachot of Shabbat. Now, the Torah says that tells us that we cannot leave our premises on Shabbat, right? Leave, right? Not to leave our premises. What does that mean, right? There is a isur of techumin. Techumin means a person is not allowed to leave beyond the city limits. That means the last house on the city, you cannot leave. We're not talking about carrying. Walking out, right? To walk out of the city premises, the last house of the city, 2,000 amot. 2,000 amot are roughly 3,000 feet. Okay? You're not carrying anything. You're just walking.
why?
Right? The Torah doesn't want us to go walk all over the place, right?
There's walking from the valley to the city. That's not possible.
I'm not sure. Are there houses in between?
They go through the highways. I know someone who did that for times.
Went through the highway.
4 hours, 5 hours to
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works, because I don't know what's there in between. If
But
there are
walking
houses.
from Pico to La Brea is fine.
Yeah, there's houses.
Yeah, that's all houses.
As long as you're going to a house, it's okay.
As long as you're within the limits of the city, and 2,000 amot, 3,000 feet about, then you're fine.
3,000 feet is very little.
What?
It's a mile.
It is half a mile? Okay.
Yeah, because 5,700 is about 1 mile. 752.
Okay. So it's about half a mile. Okay.
So if you're on vacation and there's let's say bungalows or hotels, but then you walk far past that, that's not okay.
Well, you have to see again. You have to see where do the houses end?
Yeah, right. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, from the last house out. Yeah, you have to be very
Because
careful.
there's a forest or something.
Right. Back in the day, they had posts. They had milestones. They had they would measure and put a sign up to here at Kan Techum Shabbat. Up to here is the Techum of Shabbat, and everybody knew this is up to here. Yes.
What happens in the case that you do walk out and there is no oath, and then all of a sudden you realize that there is something in your pocket? Because this did happen to me.
Right.
I had a piece of tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did stop.
We used that.
I did stop. I just stopped, and threw it away.
But if it's something important, what do you do?
It wasn't important. No,
Right,
it was not important. No, it wasn't important. But I mean, I'm just curious to know, what do you do in that case?
It's an issue. Don't stop.
Don't
right?
stop.
Don't stop.
Just
Because if you
continue.
stop, it's as if you're putting it down. And the melacha of Hosa'a is when you pick something up from one reshut and you land it, right, in another reshut. Right? There's takeoff and there's touchdown. Right? When you do that, that completes the melacha. So don't stop, because stopping, it's like, oh man, what did I do? And you're just stopping, then it's as if there's hanacha. What should you do? Continue walking until you see something that's called the mekom petur. Right? Mekom petur, we said, what was it? A fire hydrant or a water fountain? I don't know, something that's less than 4 amot, 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim, right? Each tefach is a credit card. 4 credit card by 4 credit card, and it's like 10 tefachim high. You put it on that, you're fine.
Wait, something important, what do you do with that?
Something important, then
Just keep walking,
just keep walking.
something important that's most of let's say. I don't know how it got in your pocket.
Keep
but
walking.
let's say.
Yeah, you have water. You have money. You have $100
Money,
bill.
yeah, let's say.
You have $100 bill. That's pretty important. Just keep walking. What are you gonna do?
Keep walking,
walking
and
the
then
whole
like when
Shabbat.
you get to shul, you're keeping it in. Like what do you do when you get to
So then, when you get near the
And the
shul,
shul.
somehow throw it. Somehow, as you're walking, throw it somewhere.
kick it with your foot to the side.
Just throw it. Throwing it
So
is
you
like
mean like flip it inside out, like with your hand?
yeah,
like,
as
so
you're
the-
walking, flip it, and then once it lands somewhere, cover it with something, or just put your
Oh,
foot on
really?
it.
Can
Wait
you
there the
tell
whole
a 2-year-old
Shabbat.
to take it out?
What, going?
Can you take a 2-year-old to take it out?
It's not important to him.
I was
No, but I think that
Yeah,
lessons
you
too.
could, if it's really that important.
What if
You
it's
could.
like like I once had an expensive watch in my pocket but if the battery died, and if I flipped that out, I would have.
Why didn't you wear it?
No, I didn't know it was in my pocket.
Yeah.
Why
So wear it.
not? But it's dead. It's jewelry.
It's fine. If it's jewelry, if it's an
Oh, I
expensive
thought a
watch,
watch that doesn't work is considered
it's a cheap watch. But if it's a jewelry, it's a piece of jewelry, then you could keep
You
it on.
can wear it even though it's
It's
broken,
dead?
it's fine.
Right.
Because now it's really jewelry.
Interesting.
And now, this 2,000 amot that we're talking about, right, this is rabbinic. Okay? Really, we're going to see, Midoraita from the Torah is a longer distance. But Chachamim made it asur because they don't want you to go walking all over the place. Now, therefore, Chachamim didn't make the gezerah if you're going for the bar mitzvah. Baruch Hashem, you want to go for a berit milah. Listen, in LA, start walking now until 3 days from now. You're not going to leave LA. Right? I think even towards the valley, there's all houses, if I'm not mistaken. If you take Coldwater Canyon,
Right.
it's all houses.
Right.
You're not gonna leave LA. It's hard to leave LA. You can't leave LA. But let's say you're in Eretz Israel, okay, and you're in a yeshuv, right?
Tifrach.
You're in.
In Tifrach, they have signs.
In
for
Tifrach.
Shabbat. They still have it.
Very good.
Very cool.
And in the next yeshuv, there is Baruch Hashem and Berit Milah. You want to walk, and it's going to be over 2,000 amot, right? What do you do? Because it's the Sorach Mitzvah, what you could do is like this. You make an eruv techumi. Okay? What's an eruv? Eruv means a mixture. You are going to mix the techumi. Let's say that yeshuv is 4,000 amot away. You could only go up to 2,000 amot, and they'll stop. What do? Before Shabbat, you make an eruv. You take food for 2 meals, and you drive out there. You could drive before Shabbat, and you figure out where the 2,000 amot point is. You put the food there, and you make a baracha. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'savosanu al mitzvat eruv. And then you say, through this eruv, I will be able to walk to such and such place, or a radius of 2,000 amot from this area that I'm putting my eruv. Then, on Shabbat, you start walking. You do your 2,000 regular amot that you could go. And then you could go another 2,000 amot to the other place to go to the Berit Milah, Baruch Hashem.
This is only for a Torah mitzvah?
Yeah. It's the heter is for the bar mitzvah.
You can't just
But
go
look,
for,
there's
like,
a lot of bar mitzvah. You want to go visit your Rebbe, Kavod Torah, parents, the Berit Milah, Baruch Hashem, Semachot, good things, Chatan and Kala, and so on and so forth. You can go ahead through using the Eruv Techumin. Right? You're mixing the boundaries of these two cities, and through this, that place becomes your place, and you have 2,000 amot from wherever you are, a radius of 2,000 amot. Now, but if the place is 12 mil, each mil is 2,000 amot. 12 of that is going to be around 7, I figured it out, around 7.1 miles, right? That, according to many, that's already asur from the Torah. That's already midoraita. Right? Some say even that is midirabanan, from the Torah is more, but according to many, this is already asur from the Torah, and therefore one should not go past that. That's already from that would be asur. Okay. Very good.
We're done.